Hello everyone, in this lecture we will start implementing our framework. We will see how we can execute our test from different browsers. For that, first let's set up a basic test. Let me create a new package. So for that, what I will do, new Python package, let me name it as learn framework. Okay, then we will create a test new, then here you have a Python file and let me name it as test underscore source. So why I gave name as test underscore source, because here we will write PyTest. So to write test using PyTest standard, we need to always start the file name with test. We will use source demo project, that's why I have given the test name as test underscore source. So previously we have used this website in our implicit weight and explicit weight. Okay, so for now what I will do, let me just copy this code and let me put it here. So if you will see here, I am just launching the Chrome browser, then we are waiting for some time, we are doing a implicit wait, then we are going to navigating to this particular URL, then we are maximizing this window and then we are logging in. This is the username, we are clicking on the username and sending this as the key, and then same for the password, and then we are clicking on this login button. Okay, so that's all. Now what we will do, we will try to make it as a PyTest format, right? So for that, what we can do, we will just define it as PyTest format. So let me just write def, then test underscore, let's say E2E. Okay, and all these things we have to follow the proper indentation. Okay, colon is missing here. Yeah, so we have the test ready now. Now we will just try to execute this test. If it is working fine or not, then we will go and we will try to implement the framework. Okay, now I am here in the terminal. So let me go to the project, the folder where this file is present. So learn framework. Okay, here I have the file test underscore source. So we will just write PyTest, then test underscore source minus v. Let's execute. So the browser is launched. Yeah, so you can see the test is passed. So it was very quick, so we were not able to see it, but the test got passed. So now let's modify and add framework concepts. Okay, so for the first thing, here I don't want to initialize Chrome browser inside the test, because in real time we'll have 1000 test cases. We should not initialize the browser like this for each and every test. So it's like we are repeating the same code again and again. So we can have some utils in our framework, and that will take care of browser initialization. Also, we should have some flexibility to select any browsers like Chrome, Firefox, IE, Safari, right? So we can select any browser and we can run our test cases in that browser. So how we will do it? So you know about the conftest file in PyTest lecture, right? We will create a conftest file and then we'll write a fixture inside that conftest file. Then that fixture will be available to all the PyTest test files. So let me create a conftest file, right? So here we'll create a new Python file. We'll name it as conftest. Okay, so here we'll write a fixture. So how we will write it? PyTest dot fixture. Okay, so let me give scope as a function. So we will write scope equal to function. I am not explaining the fixture concept again here. You can always refer to our previous section to know more about it. Okay, so here I am just declaring another function. Okay, so now I will declare a function. We will name it as browser instance. So def browser instance. Okay, so this function will hold the browser invocation part. So let me just copy whatever code we have here. Okay, so this is the only thing, right? Let me just copy this and let me put it here. So let me just import. So here we can import selenium.webdriver, Okay, I will just yield the driver here. So I'll just put yield driver. So when I say yield, it means the driver will be sent back. We also don't need this here, so let me just remove it. So now let's call this fixture in our test. So for that, what we'll do, we'll copy this fixture name and we'll pass it as a argument in our test. Okay, so here what I will do, I will just pass it. Okay, now let me just comment this line as well, and what we will do here, we will write driver equal to browser instance. Our browser instance is returning driver, right? So yield driver we are telling here, right? That's why I put driver equal to browser instance. Okay, now let's execute and see whether this browser invocation is happening from this conftest file or not. Okay, so the same thing will execute. Let me execute. Okay, so you see the browser invocation happened from the conftest and this test got executed successfully. So we saw that we are able to launch the browser, but how we will control from which browser we want to execute. Let's say we want to execute from Firefox. How to do that? Okay, so we need to add some logic, right? So let's say here we are telling driver equal to webdriver.chrome, then we will put a if condition. If let's say browser underscore name is equal to Chrome. Okay, then we will put this. Okay, similarly we will say else if, okay, and browser name equal to Firefox, we will say driver equal to webdriver.chrome. Instead of Chrome, here we will say Firefox. Okay, let me remove this. So what is this browser underscore name? Right now it is an unresolved reference from nowhere, right? One simple thing we can do is we can initialize it somewhere in the global environment variable, and from there we can configure whether it is Firefox or Chrome or Safari or anything else. So if I will do something like this, right, browser name, let's say here I will put browser name is equal to Firefox. Let's say I will put it as Firefox. Okay, so when I will run the test now, it should get executed in the Firefox browser. So let's see whether it is working or not. Okay, so let me run the test. See, Firefox browser launched, okay, and this is getting executed in Firefox. Okay, so now we know that if we put this browser name as a global variable and we will put some value like Firefox or Chrome, so in that browser our test will run. But there is a problem in this approach. Every time we need to change the code when we want to change the browser. So in real time, change the code means we have to commit that code, then we have to raise a pull request and get it approved, then only we will able to run in a different browser. That's a tedious task, right? So we need a simple configurable approach where we will not touch the actual code and we will able to change the browser whenever we need. So we will use command line approach. So something we will put in our command. So now we are putting pytest, then file name -v, then something like this. Let's say we will say -- browser name, then we will say Firefox. So if we will configure something like this, then it will be very helpful, right? We can put Firefox, we can put Chrome, anything, right? So this is very helpful when we will integrate our project in Jenkins. We will just change the browser name from command and our test will get executed in that browser. So here we need to send the additional parameter, that is this browser name, and then whatever browser we want to, Chrome or Firefox. Okay, so our code should able to read and execute this extra parameter. So we will do some modification to our code. So all these commands, whatever we are sending is coming as a request. Okay, so now if we just send a request, so here if I just put request, so request is a built-in pytest fixture that provides information about the test function or request using this fixture. So it is automatically injected by PyTest when you declare it as a parameter in your fixture function. So if we will hover over this request, right, so here you can see request is coming. So this request have hold of the whole command which we are requesting to run. So now what we will do, we will access the command line option, that is browser name. So how we will do it? So here we will say browser name is equal to request dot get option then browser name. So using this request dot get option, we can fetch any custom configuration option value. So here custom configuration is browser name, okay, and value is Chrome. So we store the configuration value Chrome in a variable called as browser name. So in command line, if we change the browser name to Firefox, then this variable browser name will also contain the value as Firefox. So basically now we are getting browser name from our command line. One more thing we also need to do is we need to register our options before using from our terminal. So how to do it? So if we will go to the PyTest official documentation, what they are telling is we can add any options from our terminal, okay, there is no limit on that, but before we add those options, first we need to register the code and tell that these are the options we might send from the commands. So this is how we can register. Let me just copy this, okay, and let me paste it here. So here the option name we can put it as browser name, and action we can put it as store. So it is same store or store underscore true. Then we have default. So default means we can put a default value. Let's say Chrome, I will put it as default value. So let's say due to any reason we didn't send browser name in our command, then test should not fail, right? If we will give this default value like Chrome, then in that browser means Chrome browser, the test will get executed. If we will give default browser as Firefox, then if we will not give any browser name here, then your test will get executed in Firefox, okay. So in help you can give, let's say, browser selection. So this help is like what exactly we are doing, okay. So let's execute and see whether it is working fine or not, okay. So if we will go to our test, let me just save it. If we will go to our test, so here we have commented this, and let me comment this also, or let me remove this also, this we don't need, okay. So from our command line we will pass the browser name. So for now anyway Chrome we have seen, and Chrome is a default option, so let me pass Firefox, okay. So let's see whether our test is getting executed in Firefox or not. Let me execute. Okay, I am missing something here. It was hyphen was there which I missed, okay. So let me re-execute again. So if you will notice here, we have not added request.config. I was telling we should add request.config.get option, but I have missed it. So I have added request.config. Let me re-execute. Okay, so now we see our test is getting executed in Firefox, okay. So Firefox is launched and our test is getting executed, okay. Let me just close it. So the test is not getting executed automatically, right? So here we can put driver dot close, okay. So it will get closed automatically. Now what we will do, we will not give any browser name. Let's see whether it is getting executed in Chrome or not, because we have given default as Chrome. Let me remove it. See, Chrome is launched, okay. So the test is getting executed in Chrome, okay. Test also got closed, okay. Similarly, if we will give here Chrome, that will also work fine. So you understood how you can pass browser name from the command line. Also you can pass it from the global variable, but I told you what is the problem if you will pass with the global variable, okay. So I told you both the techniques. So in this way you have the option in any browser, if you want to execute your test, you can just configure it, you can just give the browser name here. Similarly, if you want to add more browser like IE or Safari, you just add some more conditions here, okay, then you can execute the test from that browser also. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.